Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at how the AGL Kale does, or Kale Berserk, or Super Saiyan 2 Kale, or Kale Berserk transforming into Super Saiyan 2 Kale does in the Cell Max event. Now obviously usual disclaimer follows. Cell Max event is a very unusual event. It's got two very quick earlier phases that are followed by an extremely hard third phase. Units are generally required to have guard, evasion, damage reduction, a combination of these mechanics, and that means that they tend to do well against Cell Max, or at least able to tank his super. I still believe he has the hardest hitting super in the game currently, and so he's very difficult. It's a good way to measure a unit's strength overall, as if they can tank normals from Cell Max, and if they can tank his supers, then generally speaking, they'll be pretty good for the majority of other content. Yes, of course, there's always conditions. For example, int units have a natural advantage against Cell Max. They have natural guard, they naturally reduce the amount of damage he does, so int units tend to look a bit better. As well as some events disable evasion, and evasion units tend to look very good against Cell Max. But overall, I think the general consensus is if they can do well in Cell Max, they are generally considered to be able to do well in other events. Now Kale is pretty good. Obviously her skill set's dependent on having another Universe 6 unit in the same team, or same turn I should say. This is not a big problem for her. She does have a very solid Universe 6 unit in the form of the AGL Kale and Kale. Now they also need to be examined against Cell Max because of their EZA, and they don't have some of the benefits that Kale does. So Kale has two forms. Her Kale Berserk form is incredibly strong defensively after super, and her Kale Super Saiyan 2 form is incredibly strong defensively as a slot 1 unit, especially if she has a Universe 6 ally, because then she has guaranteed guard. Now the Kale Berserk is just going to naturally struggle against Cell Max. It's something that's just not a good event for her. She gains a lot of defense, or a lot of a damage reduction I should say, after super. She gains defense on super, and the big thing is, like, these don't really help, because if you want her to sit in the first slot, or you want to have Universe 6 unit with her, then yeah, generally speaking you need to have like really strong units, and with AGL Kale and Kale probably being the only viable one outside of maybe Strength Kale, she just first slot's just not a good thing, at least not for her, not in this situation. So yeah, I would say the Berserk mode until we get like a really good slot 1 tank that's from Universe 6, or have someone we can use from Universe 6 to kind of fulfill that role. I would say using the Berserk Kale in Cell Max is maybe not the best advice. Now the Super Saiyan 2 Kale, that definitely is a unit that can be used in Cell Max. So the Super Saiyan 2 Kale does a great job of just being really strong. Just really strong, super duper good defensive unit. Basically really powerful. You're going to see the difference between the two here. So first we're going to use the Super Saiyan 2 Kale. So you'll see her here. Obviously like I said, really strong unit. Really good. In this situation obviously we're using the AGL unit to accompany her, so we've got a lot of links active, and you can see there really good stuff. 7,000 damage, honestly not that much after the initial hit, and then she does her super attacks, and her super attacks are good for her. They raise her defense quite substantially, which is really good. So she's raising her defense every single time, which is great, and yeah, she's just quite solid, realistically speaking. Single digits obviously there from Cell Max, so pretty good stuff. So after super she's really strong, I would say. With 2 or 3 supers you can probably tank a super attack as well. So the base form Kale, if we can put it that way, is very, very good. Well, sorry, the Super Saiyan 2 Kale is very, very good. And you can see that rotation survived. So, I mean, say what you want, but the rotation of 2 AGL units survived some X. That's pretty impressive. Now, the base form, her Berserk form, that form struggles. Just because it gains all its damage reduction after Super, you'll see, yeah, the first slot situation doesn't work for her. Being a second slot works. It's not bad either, 609,000. Considering it's an AGL unit, that's pretty good. But yeah, it's just, yeah, that's basically it. But I think overall, she does very well. Probably one of the better AGL units and does a great job. You can facilitate her, she can be a great first slot tank. I think she does really well. That's it from me. Bye.